And we are also following more breaking news, this time involving the prime suspect accused of gunning down the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. Luigi Mangione has just left a Pennsylvania courtroom after he made this scene as he was being escorted into the courthouse last hour. NewsNation's Alex Capriello was inside that courtroom, joins us live. Alex, what happened inside there?
Yeah, so this was an extradition hearing, which was considering whether or not Luigi Mangione might actually be taken from Pennsylvania and brought to New York to face those murder charges, have a judge read those charges, and have them face that possibility for the very first time. The headline here today is that the judge denied any sort of bail and that Luigi Mangione, along with his defense attorney, Mr. Dickey, had contested that waiver of the extradition, meaning they do not want him to be extradited right away. They want more time in order to file their own sort of paperwork. And so essentially it's delaying that legal process from happening. We knew this was a possibility, that he might not be immediately transported to New York despite those arrest warrants and those paperworks being filed in Manhattan overnight. And so we are going to have to see how this process plays out. The timeline that we're looking for now is essentially 30 days that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania might request a governor's warrant. This is where you formally see the governors of these two states, New York, Governor Kathy Hochul, and then Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania working together. If they're able to secure that governor's warrant and essentially expedite this process, that would all have to happen within 30 days. In the meantime, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania did say that they are actively trying to procure that governor's warrant, and so that could happen much sooner than we expect. In the meantime, the defendant here, Luigi Mangione, will continue to be housed in one of the local prisons or jails until that process can play out. Again, we do know a preliminary hearing in the Commonwealth is scheduled for the charges that he faces here in Pennsylvania for December 23rd. We'll have to see what comes sooner, if a governor's warrant is procured fast enough or if it takes too long and we see the preliminary hearing take place here on December 23rd.
Oh, Alex, I have to ask you, what was Mangione's demeanor inside that courtroom? Because, you know, we've seen the video, we heard him yell out. He seemed very combative as he was being escorted in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that we had those videos rolling outside the courthouse showing that combative moment. This was the first time that we had seen him in that orange prison jumpsuit, something that he was outfitted in certainly within the last 12 to 24 hours, because he was not in a jumpsuit like that when I saw him last night. When he came inside the courtroom, he was shackled as he normally is, in handcuffs right by his waist, also by his ankles. He was sitting alone for quite some time while the attorneys were having some sort of sidebar with the judge behind closed doors. So we got a good look at him for about 20, 25 minutes or so as he was sitting by himself, monitoring sort of his behavior. I noticed that he was looking around a lot. He took many instances to actually swivel his chair all the way around and make eye contact with us reporters that are in the gallery. He's unshaven. He's got his long curly hair. It looks like he hasn't had a shower. And also, interestingly, it looked as if he was sort of talking to himself on multiple occasions, sort of whispering or mumbling quietly under his own breath. He seemed, in general, rather relaxed. He had a swivel chair, as I mentioned, and you could see him sort of swiveling back and forth as he was waiting for these proceedings to happen. And then one other thing I'll point out, Nichole, which was interesting, I took notes of it, is when the defense attorney who was trying to argue that he should be let out on bail, considering he doesn't have a criminal history, considering the fact that the defense was making the argument that he's not even sure what the murder charge formally is. At one point, the defendant, Luigi Mangione, actually leaned across and interrupted his own defense attorney as he was speaking to the judge. And at that moment, his defense turned and he very sternly told him, no, 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 don't say a word. So again, this is an instance of Luigi Mangione trying to sort of make his case on his own behalf. I don't know, interrupting the proceedings, interrupting his own defense attorney, and his defense attorney very quickly shutting him down. No, 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 don't say a word. Obviously, anything that he says in a court of law can and will be used against him. So a little bit of color there from inside the courtroom about the defendant. Nichole?
Alex Capriello live for us there in Pennsylvania. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.